A budget is a plan that helps you manage your money by figuring out how much you expect to make, spend, and save. There are numerous budgeting methods, and Money Flow supports two of them, the zero-based budget and the no-budget budget. The zero-based budget works best for people who have a predictable and consistent income. It works by assigning all your expected income to categories such that your income minus these amounts is zero. In contrast, the no budget budget is not structured, and the goal is simple: spend less than you make. It involves keeping track of your account balances while remaining aware of your recurring bills, setting aside money for savings and debt payments, then allocating what's left over to discretionary spending. First, I'll demonstrate how to use this template for zero-based budgeting. In the Budget section, open the Zero-Based and Setup toggles. To use this method, you need to know how much you make per month to allocate that amount into the spending categories. If you already know this amount, great. If not, you can use the income calculator to figure it out. To use the income calculator, first select your pay interval. Next, enter the amount of your last pay in the Pay Amount property to determine your monthly income. So this is the amount you have per month to disperse into the various categories. The Category Manager view is here as a convenience so you can update, add, or delete categories according to your lifestyle. Just be aware that some of these categories are linked to the sample transactions that I'm using to demonstrate this template, so unlink those transactions before you delete the categories. Use the Set Monthly Budget table to disperse this monthly income amount into your categories. The annual amount is calculated based on the monthly amount, so you can't edit it directly. However, if you have an annual amount in mind, enter that into the monthly amount and divide by 12. Press Enter to calculate it. The sum of the monthly amounts is calculated at the bottom of the column, so you know when you've assigned all your income. Start with your fixed expenses like rent, transportation, and utilities before moving on to your living expenses and savings. Enter amounts for your non-essential categories like entertainment and hobbies last. Once your budget is set, remember to link to these categories when you record your expenses, payments, and transfers. You can then use the Budget This Month and Budget This Year sections to monitor your progress. Both sections show the same type of information. The first tabbed view in each section displays a progress indicator for each category that reports the amount spent as a percentage of the budget you set. The summary view displays the dollar amount you've spent in each category and the dollar amount remaining. The table view provides a more comprehensive overview, displaying the budget amount, amount spent, amount remaining, and the amount spent as a percentage of budget for each category. So now we can circle back to the significance of that remaining budget section located near the top of the template. This section relates only to the zero-based budget and displays the dollar amount that you have left to spend in each category for the current month. If you decide to go with the no budget budget, this remaining budget section will not apply to you, so you can delete it by selecting the block handle and then delete. The no budget budget is not so much a structured system as a commitment to spend less than you make. Implementing that in real life means keeping track of what's coming up in terms of expenses versus what you currently have in your bank accounts plus what you expect to receive. Managing this in Notion is quite easy, especially since we have all this information available here in a single page. This is the method I've been using for the past year or so, which I prefer to the zero-based method. The easiest way for me to explain how to use Money Flow for the no budget budget is by example, so I'm just going to show you how I use it. So at the end of each pay period, I go to the To Do Next 2 Weeks tab of the Recurring section and click the Schedule button for every item in the list. This will create a transaction for each item that will show up in the corresponding section according to the transaction type. This will also forward the next payment date. So if that next payment date is outside of the next 2 weeks, it gets removed from this tab. When there are no items left in this list, I open the Accounts section to the Daily Use tab and the Expenses section to the Unpaid 2-Week board and visually inspect each account balance to make sure there is enough money to cover all the transactions scheduled to come out of it. I use this as my rough estimate, since I will also receive income during the next pay period, which is not reflected in the account balance. Also note that scheduled debt payments and transfers to other accounts are different transaction types, so they do not appear in this expenses list, making this truly a rough estimate that you need to review regularly. I don't have a set schedule for credit card payments or transfers, so this is not really an issue for me. The goal is to keep an eye on the account balances and make sure they exceed these corresponding numbers. However, if you do have debt payments, transfers, and income set up as recurring transactions, then I've set up a view in the budget section that will give you a clear insight into your next pay period. This view is in the No Budget toggle of the budget section. You'll find a side-by-side view of money expected to come in, so income transactions, versus money expected to go out, which includes expenses, payments, and transfers for the next 2 weeks. I set the filter for 2 weeks since that is the most common pay period, but you can update that filter to align with your pay interval.